Okay, so continuing with this blind reacts, man. My brain is hurting. I'm frustrated, and I'm more confused. And I can only imagine what the Boulder, Colorado police had to deal with, because it's like I feel stopped. I feel like at every turn, when you go to trace something down, they stop you and take you on a bunny trail somewhere else. And it's like you can never get your questions answered. It's always some nonsense. Things pop up that don't match with other things. It's like, but you just said this. Your story doesn't. I need you to be consistent. And there's a lack of consistency, man. These folks have done something, man. That's what I'm telling you.
While we were gone, I don't know when they came in.
The person was in the house before you left?
I don't think before we left.
I don't think so. I think they came into the house after we left. We're there when we came home. Waited till we fell asleep. One of our neighbors reported seeing a flashlight light in the kitchen around midnight, I believe.
The beam of the flashlight shining.
None of this.
And this is what I was saying about that, man. What I'm saying about people seeing the beam of a flashlight, and I don't think they were there before we left, and all such as that, and the third. And I think they came when we left. This is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. When you go in those neighborhoods, like, people be watching. They just be watching. What are you doing? Like, this is a wealthy neighborhood. We got money. We don't want no trouble. You know what I mean? So they just be watching. You know what I mean? So I find it funny that everybody else knows what's going on at your house but you. Everybody else knows what's going on around y'all except you. Y'all the only one without answers.
It's so cruel, but it also doesn't make sense.
Look, this person is a monster. It's a subhuman. This person doesn't think like you and I do. This person is not going to make sense.
I mentioned to you before that I wanted you to look at the ransom note again and just go over what you know about the ransom note with us, if I can find it. Well, I would take it out with a great flourish, but I need to get out of the tablet for 1 second. I just think it would be helpful if you could hear what you know about it. It's quite. One of the most unusual parts of this has been this ransom note, and I know that you've seen it several times, but would you go over it with us and tell us what you know and what you've been told about it?
Well, first of all, this is what is going to help us convict the killer. This is 3 pages of handwritten writing samples of the killer. We've been told by experts that...
John, we have been trying to analyze this up from down. What are you talking about? And it ain't helping. That's number one. Number two, I previously thought it was 2 pages. You telling me that the unaliver had time to walk around y'all's kitchen? Everybody was so knocked out. These folks had time to walk around your house, sneak in the back, find an entry point that they didn't know was there. So you say, sneak in the back, find a broken glass that you had broken months before, and be like, oh, you know what? I think I'll go down here. Sneak in, walk upstairs, kick their feet up, get something to eat, and then be like, you know what? Let me find a notepad so that I can write this ransom note. And then I'll have a ransom note ready when they come back and sit down and write a 3-page ransom note. You've got to be kidding me, guys. You've got to be kidding.
If we have a suspect and we get sufficient samples of his writing, they will be able to tell conclusively with this much of a sample that the person wrote that note. So this is a huge clue. Why it was left, I don't know.
And let me just interject at this point. Mrs. Ramsey, it's my understanding that the Colorado Bureau of Investigation took your handwriting samples to the Secret Service. Do you know the results of that test? Definitively?
No, I don't. I just know we had experts do the same kind of testing, and it's my understanding that the people that we used trained the people from the CBI, Colorado Bureau, that administered the tests. And they, on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being absolutely no match, I ranked at a 4.5, with 1 being a perfect match. So
We don't know the results of the police testing. We've
Don't know the results of the handwriting sample that the police did. Don't know who's walking around your house or how they got in or when they got in. Don't know whether or not John Bonet ate pineapples or not. Don't know what was on the police tapes. Don't know who wrote the letters. Don't know anything.
heard that they're at best inconclusive.
The governor said this morning on national TV that you've seen all the evidence in the case.
I would be desperate. If there is evidence we haven't seen, I would ask the governor to please let us see it. Please let our investigators see it.
What is it that you want to do with regard to this case?
What we are desperate to have happen now. We've gone for 3 years. Only my family's been investigated. The grand jury refused to indict us, and it takes very little evidence to indict someone. All we've done is gotten back to the beginning, but we don't want it to be the end. I'd like for political ambitions to be put aside. I'd like for egos to be put aside. There are no apologies needed, but let's get on with an investigation. Let's staff this investigation with seasoned, experienced homicide investigators, the best we can find, the best we can.
How do we know that it's just because you don't like the outcome of what Boulder police have decided that you're under an umbrella of suspicion?
Now, I will say this. They did say that, the Boulder Police Department did fumble the bag. They did say that they were relatively inexperienced, especially in high-profile cases like that. I got to give that to you. I get all that. But John don't even seem like he believes what he's saying. We got to get back to basics. We got to be hard. He sounds like a politician. We got to be hard-nosed. We got to get back to basics. And we got to put our foot down and figure out who this person was. Are you with me? That's what that sounds like. And it's like, John, it don't even sound like you believe what you're saying, because it almost looks like you, and his face doesn't move. It's dead. Like, he doesn't say anything with force. There's no energy behind them talking. We just need to find this killer. This killer needs to be found. And, we just believe that the police need to do their job. There's no feeling in that. There's no push in that. There's no force in that. Usually people who have lost family members are like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And they didn't want to look at this. And we tried to show them. We've been trying to show them, but they didn't want to. There's energy behind that. But these people are dead as a doorknob. And that's weird.
That you just want another chance.
They can investigate us. If the governor would put together a seasoned investigative team to start over, go back through all the leads, all the evidence, we'd be fully cooperative. Right. And they can investigate us again if they want. That's fine. But please don't just investigate us, because if you do, we're never going to find the killer.
There is lots of evidence. There is a lot of evidence.
The Boulder police did a wonderful job of collecting evidence. Thank goodness.
And that doesn't change. Evidence is evidence. We've got it. But we need to follow the evidence and do some follow-up investigating, not just dead end with John and Patsy Ramsey.
Let's go over the ransom note. What do you know? What have people told you about?
So y'all think that they just what? Y'all think they just looking at y'all for no reason? Why do y'all think that they would just hone in on y'all? What are the other tips? Like, they've looked at everyone. At this point, they looked at everyone that they know of. The only thing left would be to do is to turn John's company upside down. He's like, who told? Because it's got to be somebody here within Lockheed Martin.
About phrasing or anything else in the ransom note?
Well, there's obviously a couple of references, I think, to something that people think came from a couple of movies, which would lend one to think that it might be maybe a younger person who watches a lot of movies.
Are you surprised that there are no swear words in there? If there's a huge degree of hatred for you.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
Mm-hmm. No, it is surprising. Nor is John Bonet's name mentioned. All they say is, we have your daughter. Mm-hmm. They don't say we have John Bonet.
Yeah, which makes me wonder, if it's someone that did not know us well enough to know what her name was.
What the heck are you talking about? This is what I mean when I say you talking out of both sides of your mouth. They really about to make me mad. Because this I don't know if I'm be able to finish this video because y'all about to make me mad. You just said that we talking about a person who stalked y'all enough to know this man's salary, enough to know the bonus. If they know enough about you, bro, this is how it works. If they know enough about you to know your salary, kid, because that's not, I could see you at Walmart in the street and be like, okay, this man has a daughter and a son. I can see that. If I'm stalking you like that, I can see that. I could follow up behind you and pick up receipts or whatever I need to do. Go ask person, who's that cool guy? Oh, that's him and his daughter. I could figure that out. But to get inside and figure out what, like, to get inside and figure out how much money that you're making, especially the bonus. Who comes up with that information? You telling me I went all in. Let's say we go with scenario 1. This is somebody inside the company. Somebody knows somebody inside the company, so they go, hey, go figure out, because that's happened. Go figure out, and robberies have happened that way, and people have lost their lives. They basically scoped the person out and said, okay, he comes in every day from this point in time. He's not supposed to come in on Saturday. Hit the spot on this day, and then the man came in on Saturday. He happened to be there on Saturday, and they came to hit the spot, and they unalived him because he wasn't supposed to be there, and they panicked. That could be the case. But in that case, you're talking to somebody who knows them. You see what I'm saying? So if you scoping somebody and I'm planning a robbery, I would know that stuff. So now you turn around and telling me, well, they knew us well enough to sneak around Lockheed Martin and get our information about the money, but they don't know us well enough to know my daughter's name. Bro, that's not realistic.
But we've been told that there's a lot of movie talk in here. This person liked movies. They may have seen the movie Ransom, which was playing in Boulder
at the time.
And there were some similarities between Ransom and your life in terms of the profile of the people involved. The billionaire. Have you ever seen the movie Ransom?
No, I haven't seen the movie.
Okay.
I was about to ask.
I've been told that it's very similar. Apparently, there's Clint Eastwood movie lines in this thing. We don't watch the movies that much, so I was perplexed at why $118,000. Why not $1 million? I mean, why not? If this, there's only this madman knows why.
And of course, the supposition was that was the amount of your bonus.
That was a supposition I put forward early on as I looked back to try to figure out what that number meant. I offered that up to the police and said this possibly could be the case. I don't know that it was. Who knows? I mean, only the killer knows, and this is a deranged individual. Mrs.
Ramsey, how many times did you have to write and read this note?
Dude was in debt with the mafia so bad, and he said, you know what? You know what I think I need to get out of this debt with the mafia? You know what I think I need? I need $118,000. That's what I need. I need exactly $118,000 tax-free dollars. That's what I need. That's gonna pay off my debt. 118. That's gonna do it.
Oh, I think I gave 5 or 6 handwriting samples.
And they were extensive. We wrote and rewrote this note, which was
right-handed, left-handed, with different pens,
But you didn't give it to the cops.
Everything.
Did they ask you to read the note?
No. When the test was administered, they would verbally dictate what I was to write, and it was rather fast. So you didn't have time, I guess, to try to think about how you were making your letters. You just had to write as you always write to keep up.
What do you think happened in your version of when the intruder broke in, how the intruder broke in, when the intruder wrote the ransom note, and when the intruder kidnapped Jamine? And do you think that the intruder wanted to actually take her out of the house, was actually going to kidnap her?
We've been told by seasoned investigators that this is what it appeared. It is what it appeared. It was an attempted kidnapping. Something went very badly wrong. We believe that the killer was in the house when we came home. We believe the note was written before Jamine was killed. Whether it was before we got home or after we went to bed, we don't know. I have strong reason to believe that the killer entered or left the house through the basement window that we found open, and we found a hard Samsonite suitcase flush up against the wall as if it were a step to get out of the window. The window was probably 5 feet off the floor, so you had to step on something to get out.
Who cares?
That's my best guess at how at least they got out. They would have needed the suitcase to get out of that window.
How do you think they were going to get her out of the house, or he?
We've been told that the suitcase may have been involved.
Okay, let's take a short break here, Sisters. What eliminates you as suspects?
I don't know if anything eliminates us. I don't know that we'll ever be able to prove our innocence. First of all, we shouldn't have to prove our innocence. One of the
Yes, you
things we've lost
should.
in this society, I believe, is the presumption of innocence. We've been told by the police, prove to us you're innocent, and we'll be the first to say it. And we were aghast at that kind of a statement. But we've lost that in this country. But the fact of the matter is, the only thing that will prove our innocence is when we find the killer. And there's still going to be 10% of the population that says, oh yeah, but I don't believe that. They still are the guilty ones. There are still people on the web who believe Charles Lindbergh killed a child.
He's rambling. He's just rambling. He's just talking right now. He's not talking about anything. He's just rambling. He's just rambling into space about stuff that no one cares about. And this is why I know you're not trying to find your daughter. You don't need to find her because you already know what happened. This is how I know you're not looking, because you rambling. You talking to me about nonsense. We sitting here kicking and shooting the breeze about foolishness that ain't got nothing to do. I need stone cold, hard-nosed facts about what happened. Can you talk to me about that? Can we find that out? And you telling me about a suitcase propped up against the door, how he got out? How he get in, John? Okay, how did he get in? How was he just kind of floating around the house until you guys got back? And how was he able to float upstairs and get John Bonet out the bed and then float downstairs? And then as he was taking John Bonet, apparently she cooperated, taking him downstairs by the hand and be like, oh, wait, before I kidnap you, I wrote a note for you guys. I wrote a note about you. I'm just going to leave it upstairs. Leave it on the stairs and then walk down to a door, lock the door behind him, and then be like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. You know what? I'm going to leave out this door and I'm going to lock it. And then I'm going to get out through this window over here. Why would he go into another room and decide to, instead of going into the room where he can escape, number one, number two, wouldn't John Bonet scream? Y'all didn't teach our daughter to scream. She had tape over her mouth. I get that. Maybe he put tape over her mouth, but her hands weren't bound.
And that the whole trial was a hoax. So
you make it seem like she just accepted her assault. Her hands were not bound. She just said, you know what? Yeah, sure. I do want tape over my mouth. And that's what's sickening about this. Because it don't make sense. Did this girl, we got, they said there was a residue under her fingernails. How was there residue under her fingernails if her hands were tied up?
we're never going to convince the cynics of anything. But that doesn't matter. Our proving our innocence isn't important. Never has been.
Finding the
important is
killer
finding the killer
is
daughter.
John, in order to find this person, we gotta first know that it ain't you. That's how it works. Y'all keep on trying to act like we not doing our jobs by trying to investigate and clear y'all. That's part of the process. But you keep on, for some strange and odd reason, talking silly as if that ain't got it.
Do you think that'll happen?
Yes,
Absolutely.
I do.
Why, Mrs. Ramsey?
Because Lou Smith, who is experienced, is a truthful, ethical man, looked me straight in the eye and said, we're going to get him. We're going to find him. And I'm holding out hope for that.
Mrs. Ramsey, if I could, tell me your version of what you think happened that night in terms of Intruder. And I know you've been over this 100 times, but if we could hear it from you, please.
Well, I think that when we left in the late afternoon to go to the Whites for dinner, that possibly this person was watching our house, watched us leave, and came into the house at that time. So there were it was a window of several hours of time.
That's what I mean when I say they've had time to get their story together, because she's just talking from a script right now.
Where he could have familiarized himself with the house, where Jean-Benet's bedroom was, where our bedroom was, where the basement was, before we returned home. I believe that the ransom note was probably very likely written at that time. We had paper and pens all over the place, so they were available. And then I think the person was there when we returned home that night.
And the ransom note was already written?
I believe it was. I mean, it's very unusual for a ransom note to be this long. From what we understand from professionals we've talked with, that after someone commits such a crime as this, they, get the heck out of there. So.
We've also been told by experienced...
And that's what I'm saying. Patsy, experienced professionals are saying, yeah, I'm in and out. I got to get out of here. But you telling me this man stuck around knowing that y'all was upstairs and knowing that he could get caught during an assault, and stuck around and say, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna assault, and then I'm gonna just get up and I'm gonna leave. He just took his time. What kind of person was this?
People that not even a serial killer could sit down and write a 3-page ransom note after they've killed.
And why would that be?
I don't know.
I don't know that.
But I think it's because this is an emotional climax for them, and to sit down and write what probably took a while, because it obviously was written to attempt to disguise the handwriting, a 3-page note, which I think this is either the longest or the second longest ransom note in the history of this country. That couldn't have been done after just murdering a child by anyone.
I'm gonna stop it right there. We're gonna keep on going, and we're gonna jump back into it. I'm thoroughly confused and frustrated, because it's getting worse. It's like the worst interview I've seen with them. This is the worst, because none of the stories make sense. But anyways, I'm gonna catch y'all on the next run. Until then, take it easy.